Hi guys, welcome back to RUE MORGUE TV. I am RUE MORGUE Executive Editor Andrea Subasati, and I have another panel here from FRIGHTMARE in the Falls presented by RUE MORGUE. In this panel, we've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2's Bob Elmore, as well as the Wizard of Gore himself, Tom Savini, and that's moderated by Joe O'Brien. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy the episode.
Tobe Hooper only had a week to prepare that movie between Invaders from Mars. You know, he had just finished Invaders from Mars. I thought if he pulls this off, I have a whole new respect for him, you know. But the tone came out of the characters and out of Tobe Hooper's personality. I think he went for the laugh, you know, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know, it was...
You know, the guy pulls a grenade out of his crotch.
You know,
that was something they invented just to get the movie over with, you know? Because they had no ending, and you know.
We filmed, I think it was 3 days in a row. How many hours that is, I'm not sure. I don't remember. And we went 24, 48, 72, and they were just filming stuff, you know, because we had a certain cutoff date period in a statement. No more money, no more nothing. You're done. Period. You know, we checked out as the stunt crew. We checked out of the hotel 3 days earlier because we were going home, and then, no. So we got to do this and do this. Our families didn't know where we were at. They were calling the hotel. No, they checked out 2 days ago.
Oh, so you had no place to stay?
No,
but you
we
were
stayed on the set.
Ah.
You know, and...
That greasy, bloody, hot...
No, our bags were in the honey wagon right there.
Oh, okay.
And we kept changing air flights to coincide with this, you know, and then finally it was done, you know, and that was it. But we walked away. We were all crazy, you know. Mentally and physically exhausted beyond whatever.
Yeah, yeah. But you didn't know all that watching the movie. You were just seeing... the result of that hardship.
You didn't. This guy and his stuff was unreal. You don't see that. You know, I get to see it every day.
We put a chainsaw through your stomach, and it operated.
And it worked.
It operated behind your back and in front of you. You know.
So there's a little second of you see that. You know.
But on the set, Tobe Hooper would come in and he would tell everybody what he wanted to happen. And then one by one, they walked up and talked him out of it. And that's what took so long. He was doing 4, maybe 5 setups a day. So they sent in this Nazi from Cannon Films, Newt Arnold.
Newt Arnold.
Bald with an eye patch, okay? And he would come out and say what he wanted to do. And if somebody walked up, he said, no, it's my turn right now, be quiet. And he would say what he wanted to do, and then they went off and did it. Then he would say, now, what did you want to say? Meanwhile, the stuff's getting done. With Tobe Hooper, he would listen, and the shots weren't getting done. So Newt was doing like 28 setups a day, okay? He was sent in specifically to speed up the process, but none of his stuff is in the movie. The whole parking garage scene with cutting off hands and cutting heads off, it's not in the movie.
You know, take us to a spot and film all this stuff, and that was one of them. You know, I remember doing it.
The parking lot, yeah.
Yeah, you know, but you don't see it in the film.
Well, the parking lot was the catering truck that the family had, and the doors burst open, and he comes out with a chainsaw and starts slaughtering all the football fans, you know. And that's not in the movie.
Did we also shoot the Joe Bob Briggs scene?
Yeah, that's not in the movie. Mm-hmm. But it is in the supplemental material of one of the Blu-rays, Blu-ray or DVD, yeah. You were talking about
the heat.
Yeah, 110 degrees every day.
Yeah,
100% humidity.
Austin, Texas.
Every day, and then on set, it was so hot they brought in industrial coolers, air conditioners, that broke down because it was too hot. So you just gave up on all that.
And you can't have an air conditioner running because of the noise and the sound takes. You know, I remember. Were you with John? John Moyle was the stunt coordinator, and he was, of course. Major stunt guy. He was Leatherface more than the actor. Yeah. Right. But John Moyle came in, and he's from Pittsburgh, where I'm from. He walked in, hey, Tom, who's from Pittsburgh? Hey, me. I heard about you, Tom Savini. And were you with us when he put my whole crew in a station wagon, said, hey, come with me. So we all got in the station wagon, he took off, and started doing 380s down the street.
No,
you weren't there, okay.
I wasn't in that one, no.
So we were scared to death, but we were so impressed, you know. So we had a rental car, and that's all we did was go out and do 380s in it because John Moyle taught us how to do it, you know. Anyway, little side story there.
Not an unfun shoot for you.
Oh no, it was great fun. Great fun.
For me, yes, it was terrible.
For him.
Of course. Let's talk about that. Because I only recently discovered this. Of course, you're not credited on screen for playing Leatherface,
Right.
but as Tom
You're
Savini-
not?
No.
No, unfortunately, I went to.
This is a Steve Dash Warrington Gillette
Exactly.
syndrome.
You know, there was
yeah.
conversation at the time of giving me credit for the character when it was towards the end, and and I go, whatever. I mean, I made a huge amount of money, and I had no gripes. It was the hardest job I ever did in about 30 years worth of work. It was exhausting, physically, mentally, and all the above. But it was very profitable for me personally, so I didn't really care. And 25 or 30 years later, people are going, well, what did you do? And I said, well, I did everything. Well, what do you mean? What about Bill Johnson?
He did the close-ups.
I go, Bill, that's what he did. He had 2 close-ups in the movie. I did everything else. I did Chainsaw Love. I cut the face off the guy and put it on Caroline. We did the hoopty-doopties that I had Tobe Hooper screaming at me behind the camera, I'm trying to, and I'm not an actor, so there, what am I supposed to do? You tell me what you want to do, I'll fall down, I'll get back up, and we'll do it again. But acting, no, man.
But didn't John Moyle beat the shit out of you?
He beat me.
They were practicing the chainsaw fight.
Yeah, we were practicing the fight. Now, how do you practice a chainsaw fight? Now, Now, Dennis Hopper is not anywhere around. He's off, whatever he's doing. So Jimmy Steffen, who was the stunt double, we were going through all this, and he hit me one too many times. And I picked him up, and I ran to a wall and threw him into a wall. And I said, send me home. I go, I've had it with you. I've had it with the heat. I don't care. I don't care. Done. Well, what's the matter? I go, you. That's what's the matter, So we got that through that. But, man, it was just crazy. Absolutely crazy to do that. And you have to understand the stunt coordinator at that time was a little off. And
You're talking about John Moyle.
Oh, I'm talking about John. And he would rehearse in front of anybody. So if you came into the set, he goes, here, let me show you this, and have us do this full-on 100% rehearsal of this fight. And then you would come in, he says, hey, watch this, and we'd go do it again. Now, we're getting tore up, and we're not even on film. That's the mentality of this guy.
Well, he would scream. He would scream at you guys. He would, you stupid fucking idiot. He would belittle you guys. I felt sorry for you guys because he was treating you so bad.
This was at a time. Okay, we're not new in the business, but we're starting out and getting more reputation as a stunt person and stuff. And now this is a great opportunity for us to go do this movie because it's a big movie. It's $26 million or something like that.
Was it that much?
Yeah.
Big deal.
I got gypped. Well, if
You and Eddie, what's his name? The special effects guy.
Eddie, from McCannon.
Oh.
I forget what his. I forget
Oh.
that guy. That guy was wacko. Yeah.
This is it's another little story.
Eddie Serkis.
He pulled a cord out of a wall, and he pulled it so hard it came back, and the 3 plugs hit him in the head and stuck there.
He was the guy that supposedly was supposed to come in and solve all the special effects problems. Yeah. Oh, you're doing Leatherface? Oh, good, I don't have to do it. That's what he said. Oh, you're creating that? Oh, good, I don't have to do it. We're creating all the effects, I guess. Anyway, but if you see the movie again, watch Dennis Hopper, because before each take, Dennis Hopper would just spin in the room, stand there and spin. So when he stopped, he would have this look on his face, I learned a lot from Dennis Hopper.
So he would spin around in circles and then pick up a chainsaw.
No. It was for some reason he did it when he had scenes with Caroline or something. I was there. I watched him do it, but just so he could, because he's a method actor. Yeah. But we had a remote control police car that you could press a button and the top would flip up and the siren would go off. So we saw Dennis Hopper come out of the hotel and we followed him with the police car. At a certain point, I made the siren and scared the fuck out of him. Okay, he loved it. He came over and sat with us, waiting for people to come out of the hotel so he could do it to them. He was a blast.
Amazing.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper.
Who could say you worked with a Hollywood icon? I mean, really, that it's like, oh yeah.
I'm the Lord of the harvest.
That's a movie star. That's Dennis Hopper is a movie
You know,
star.
I got to work with Maureen O'Hara, and I just fell in love with her. And that was just like, oh, you know, I don't know what to do. You know, speechless on those.
I just got a message. There was a bomb threat at the Chiller convention in New York.
Oh, you're kidding.
Seriously.
Yeah. My assistant, that's all he said was there's a bomb threat at Chiller.
A lot of crazy people down there.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Anybody have a bomb in this room? Okay.
Not a
Anybody
bomb.
have a question in this room?
I have a question.
Okay.
Texas Chainsaw 2, obviously a huge makeup show for you.
Yeah.
Was that your biggest job at that point?
No, Creep Show was the biggest. Yeah, it was 5 movies on Creep Show. On Texas Chainsaw, I had the best guys, around. Yeah.
Gabe Bartalos.
Gabe and John Vulich and Mitch Devane. These are the top guys, yeah.
And we think about the movie. You guys may not know this. When Texas Chainsaw 2 was originally released here in Ontario, it was cut by more than 25 minutes.
Wow.
So most of your work was not seen. There's whole sequences that are missing. It's all been restored now on Blu-ray. And
Yeah.
we can all see it now, but at the time,
That used to piss me off, but after I directed, you realize it's the director's show.
Right.
If he wants to cut something,
yeah,
if
well,
he,
this wasn't even those. This was the Ontario Censor Board. Decided
Oh.
we in Ontario were too.
Well, you couldn't even get it in Germany. It
Yeah.
was banned.
Oh, no, yeah, banned in
I don't know
Germany.
how long? You know, and it's like, what? Are you kidding?
So what I wanted to ask you was, and I wanted to put some focus on this. It's a big. Obviously, there's a lot of gore gags. There's a lot of
Yeah.
mayhem. But the thing that I really want to focus on is your character work in that movie. The character makeup, from Leatherface and to Chop Top and even Skinned LG, is like there's some fantastic just character work. in
well, the
that.
best one is Grandpa.
And Grandpa's incredible. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
So
Toby, that was the best age makeup he said he's ever seen.
Did you know how close he was going to get to the prosthetics with the camera? That fantastic.
We made him get close.
Yeah.
We begged him to get close because we had these dead eye lenses that weren't being shown. And there's I have a making of tape where we're begging, and you can see Toby, and he zooms into the monitor.
Right.
You can see that he doesn't zoom into the monitor. You can see on the monitor that he's zooming in on Grandpa,
Right.
and you saw the dead eyes.
Pores in the
Yeah,
nose
we had
and
to
all
beg
of
for
that.
that. Yeah, we got to pick the actor to play that part.
Right.
And it was a guy, a tunnel rat from Vietnam. I liked him because his eyes were so sunken,
Right.
but he still had the wounds from Agent Orange.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So we had to carefully work around that. But what the hell? I can't remember his name. Everett something.
He
Anyway,
passed away, didn't he?
he did. Yeah. He wound up homeless.
gosh.
But we picked him to play Grandpa, and that makeup took 9.5 hours, and we did it 13 times without them using him. We would go at 2 o'clock in the morning and make him up 9.5 hours, and then he'd sit around all day, and they never brought him on set or shot him.
Yeah.
So we asked him to complain.
Right.
As an actor, Screen Actors Guild, he could, and then they started using him. But that was a pain in the ass, and we got it down to about 7.5 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
That's-
Because somebody brought in techno music. It's amazing. The techno music started playing, and we were faster,
Amazing.
Well, we did. You know, we had Dan Berenger was Bill Mosley's stunt double, so they would get up in the plate stuff and all that.
We have to make both of them up.
They had to make
Yeah.
both of them, and there was another one. Come in at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they didn't shoot till 6 or 7 o'clock because it took so long. 4 or 5 hours
Yeah,
for makeup.
yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, everybody's working on Bill. Well, we would come in as a stunt crew, and we totally would take Dan's stuff off, get him all cleaned up, so we could get the heck out of there. We wouldn't leave without him. So we had it down too. where
Leave no man behind.
and then we were getting Shiner beer because they were a sponsor, and putting beer bottles in every pocket you had for the ride home because we were so exhausted and spent, But that's how we worked very close together.
Well, we made our day exciting. At the end of every day, we would race back to the hotel. We timed it on a stopwatch. Every day we tried to beat our time, And this is, we're talking about rush hour, so that was great fun. And having learned 380s from John helped.
Bob, here's a question only you could ever answer. What's it like chainsaw fighting Dennis Hopper?
Dennis,
Well, did you fight Dennis Hopper?
like for a second, but to rehearse with, he wasn't really into it, and it was hard, and
Because he was spinning.
so much respect for him. And how do you tell somebody like that? It's like Orlando Bloom, I said, this guy, I go, what's wrong with you, And we got to, ticky-tacky a little bit here and there, and I don't even think you see him on film.
What's the definition of ticky-tacky?
Ticky-tacky is just a little bit of hit, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
You mean in rehearsing the fight?
In rehearsing, and stunt work is a dance. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You get faster and faster and faster until now you're at full speed and you know exactly what's going to happen. Or you hope you do. Sometimes it
with chainsaws.
And there's in the movie, if you watch it, and Jimmy and myself are doing the fight, and you see sparks flying everywhere. Those are real sparks.
Oh, they weren't spark hits?
No, they were real. That's how hard we were hitting each other because we didn't want to do it again because we'd already rehearsed it 8 million times before and told how bad we were. So we just went balls out and boom, 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 and there you have it. And
I wasn't crazy about some of the editing in there, especially with the effects stuff. That was one of the reasons it's in my contract that I direct the sequences my effects are in, because the guy, the yuppie in the car that gets the top of his head. Okay, we had a piece on the real actor. I love to use the actor's real face as much as possible, but we had a piece where the top, after the slice in his head, his reaction, that the top would actually start to come off and blood would ooze down. Well, they cut that out. So all you see is the chainsaw heading toward him in the car, and then you're behind him with his fingers and the top is off, and it was hilarious. It made it funny, and it shouldn't have been funny. It should have been a gross out, but they cut the scene of the real actor with the top of his head coming out anyway.
I remember you got quite a reaction out of David Letterman when you showed him that gag.
Oh, yeah. Who wants Jell-O? That's what he said, yeah.
I had a real Worlds Collide moment when I was watching Late Night, and Tom Savini walks on Late Night with David Letterman with a whole host of...
I did the show 5 times.
This is a very famous person. I hope everybody realizes.
The third time I set his hand on fire.
Right.
Yeah, and that really burned him.
I remember that.
Yeah, because we had Zell gel on his palm, and rubber cement, and I've slowed down the video and I watched when I lit the Zell gel, some of the rubber cement stuck to the lighter and then flipped behind him and burned him really bad.
Oh, man. They had you on 2 more times after that.
The 4th time I was on, I set his hand on fire again, but this time it worked and I was redeemed. The last time I was on, I shot him in the head,
right.
And he was really afraid of that. It's my head! Shoot me in the knee, So
You did an exit squib.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he felt it, He wouldn't stand against the white backdrop, so I could see the spray coming out. But he has to create a show. So if he gave me, and he did give me a hard time on the air, but between takes, he was the nicest guy, But Arnold Schwarzenegger was on once, and it was 6 months after Arnold had taken the citizenship test. So Letterman pulls out the test and starts asking, and he knew nothing.
Right.
So, and Arnold didn't come back after the commercial, But he has to put on a show, That's what he does. You know what I think he does? I think he's in his office, and the producer takes you through what you're going to do. And I'm sure Letterman is going, okay, he's writing down jokes because he was so fast, I think he's looking for places where he can say a joke, and then he did it, on camera. Yeah.
Bob, were you intimidated taking on the role of Leatherface? I mean, you were brought on initially as a stunt performer.
No, I was really comfortable with my abilities, but again, for the millionth time, I'm not an actor. So now when I had to do that was extremely hard, because I'm not familiar with it, and you have to. So there had
But wasn't there a safety behind the mask? I find that if you could take a mild-mannered accountant and put a mask on him, you put a gorilla mask on him, suddenly he's jumping on tables and doing shit, the freedom of not knowing who you are.
Well, that's why I wanted to go very physical, because I was very physical at the time. A lot, stronger, younger, and I could run around. But then now we're doing, what do you do with Caroline? And you put the hat and the mask on her. And, I came up with that thing of spinning her around. I didn't know what to do. And then I had John Moyo and Tobe Hooper yelling at me behind the camera. 2 of them, both. And I thought, oh, crap, So that was just...
But what were they yelling at you for things to do?
Things to do.
Things to do to her?
Right. Quick, bits of stuff. I'm trying to listen to both of them and do this at the same time. And then Chainsaw Love, I'm in there and he... I go, what do you want me to do? And he goes, act like you're fucking her. That's what I want.
With a chainsaw?
With the chainsaw,
So that was all you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going, okay, you know. I don't-
Have you heard the supplemental material on the DVD where we talk about Caroline's ass? Did you hear all that? No? Nobody heard that? Well, you got to get the DVD and listen to the commentary, you know.
Commentary track is fabulous.
It's all about Caroline's butt. Excuse me.
While she's in a room with it.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, we were doing that, and she was freaking out because she's got her legs spread. And this is, like I said, there's a real chainsaw and has real teeth in it.
What?
You know. Yes. You know, and
had really
now
different
you
experiences
see
on
it.
this film.
You see that, and it's, you know, it's just probing higher and higher and higher, and she's like flipping out.
But that's why they wanted you to do it, because you would have more control.
Well, I told her, that's why I said, look, I'm not going to hurt you. I go,
Right.
I will not.
You're a stunt person. The
You know,
safety is...
I will not. I absolutely. Please, you know, be relieved of that. I'm not going to touch you. You know, nothing's going to happen. You know,
That could have gone so wrong.
it could have gone south many times on that show. Everything. You know, I broke my wrist filming cutting the car up on the bridge. We did that twice. The first time we did it, and they lit it so bad that they couldn't see it. So
Right.
now we have to go back again. And now, you know,
That's you with the puppet in front of you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we did that, and then I'm in there trying not to kill the actors in the car while I'm cutting it up, and click, I go, man, that really hurt. And then, you know, so we finished the day up. Tom Morgue, who's another stuntman, very famous guy, put the stuff on and did one last shot of the truck leaving down the bridge, and that was Tom in the back of the
As
truck.
Leatherface.
As Leatherface.
Is that because of you
Yeah.
discovered you had a broken wrist? Okay.
You know, so I go to the hospital for that one. And they go, yeah, we got to put a cast on. I go, no, I can't. I have to work. I said, well, I go, put a half cast on so I can take it off. So in between sets, I would go put ice on it because it would swell up. And here we go. And then that's when Kit is writing all day
Yes,
long.
every day.
Every day he's in there on the typewriter writing scenes for this.
But no, it was fun. It was fun building that stuff, you know. Hook'em Horn's hands that we cut the guy's hand off, you know. There was
We got
one
to go into their shop. I did, and there's a huge book. There, you know, and the guys are going, "Hey, look at this." Well, it's all autopsy, human body stuff. You know,
My
real-
5-year-old daughter's favorite book.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm just going, "Oh my God, oh my God!"
No, it's airplane accidents, it's burn victims,
Yeah,
it's
you
car
know.
crashes, it's shotguns, you
Oh,
know.
gee, I'm going.
It's called The Medical Legal Investigation of Death. The book cost $700. And I taped shut, so I will never see it again, the section on kids.
Right.
You know, I never want to see that
Yeah,
again.
you know, it's like, oh my God, you know, but you've seen the work that they did, you know, and they had to sculpt this first. They were, and I don't know anything about, you know, anything about that, but I saw some of the sculpting that they did to make the latex pieces for like the body, LGs.
Well, it had to be real. I was a combat photographer in Vietnam. I saw horrible stuff. I'm the only makeup artist who has seen the real thing. And there's two things that bother me in movies that they do. And it's because they have never seen the real stuff. Like they go to an accident scene 3 days after the accident, and the blood is blood red. That would never happen. The blood turns brown after 24 hours. So all the blood should have been brown. That's a big mistake. And if they put it on something white, they don't add green to the blood, and the blood looks like strawberry Kool-Aid. You have to add green to the blood if it goes on something white, and it makes the blood stay deep blood red. And also, when you die, none of your muscles work, including the jaw muscles. So, you know, every cadaver I've ever seen, the mouth is open. But in movies, when an actor is portraying a dead body, he goes, you know, he wants to look pretty for the camera. No, the jaw, no muscles work. And that's a big mistake that directors make with actors when they're playing something dead, and the same mistake actors make being a dead body. They're not doing a great job if they don't. Danny Trejo, excellent dead body. He knows how to play a dead body. And Peter Coyote and Random Hearts, you know. But as an actor, if you're directing and making a film, if you're dead, your jaw is going to hang open. These muscles don't work anymore. Anyway, little observations.
How did you approach the new Leatherface design?
Well, I thought he had to be different people,
Right.
you know, and that's what it is. It's a face over here. I have 5 of them on my table. If you
Did you use real faces?
real what?
Did you use real people's faces, or were they?
Oh no, they were sculpted. Yeah, Mitch Devane sculpted that mask. Yeah, those masks I have are from the original mold, painted the same way, laced the same way. It's as close as you can get to the mask from the movie. We should throw one on you.
No,
Okay.
no, we won't do that. No. No, I had dreams about that. No. It was like, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay.
Did you have prosthetics under the mask as well? Or?
No, we did lip sores on
Yeah.
them
Right.
that would show
We
through
had
and teeth. Yeah, fake
and
teeth.
then makeup around the eyes. You know,
yeah.
and Bill's with his bug eyes, you know, but he never saw him.
Yeah,
I was going to say, you repeat again and again that you're not an actor, but I have to say that in a movie that has every performance pitched incredibly hysterically, Leatherface actually feels kind of nuanced in his relationship with Carolyn Williams and also especially with Chop Top.
I don't think you can say that anymore. I think you can say you're an actor.
Yeah, I think so too.
No, because you're an actor, and I'm not. I can't pull this stuff out of you to, for emotions or whatever you're doing, and I've never been able to do that.
I would respectfully disagree.
Well, whatever you want to do. But this gentleman right here, I swear to God, we have such a good time. And I did another epic movie later called Dr. Giggles, and the same makeup people.
Some of the same guys.
Some of
yeah.
the same guys
Yeah.
were there, and it was like old home week. I mean, oh yeah, and because of I don't know. I've told John this before, and it gets back to him. That's fine with me.
John Moyle.
That we would sneak out of the hallway and go past his peephole because he would if he saw you, he wants you to do something. And we just wanted to go. And so we saw these grown people walk down the hallway, squatch down, come back up and go away because of him. But that was, again, another epic movie that I can put on my credit. Yeah.
Dr. Giggles.
Dr. Giggles.
Tell us about the Chop Top design. How did that emerge? How did that evolve? Did that come from the script? Did
Yeah,
you guys bring
definitely in the script. Yeah.
Right, because it's not the most elaborate job you did on that show. But
Oh, that was a long makeup job.
Man,
though, on him,
that took forever.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 hours.
We
Yeah.
waited and waited and waited and waited.
Yeah, well, it would have been longer if we didn't convince Bill to shave his head, because that would have been a bald cap every day, and those are a pain in the ass. But he got $5,000 for shaving his head.
Attaboy.
Screen Actors Guild, it's one of the rules, Yeah. So he got an extra $5,000. So he had no problem shaving his head.
Tell me about chainsawing that steel plate.
Oh, I think
And the
you did that,
stargates.
didn't you?
Yeah, I did that one.
Yeah, he did that
Okay.
one.
The scene coming out of the record room, and I.
It was with a stunt guy, not
Right, it
Bill
was Dan
Mosley. yeah.
Behringer, and every time and it was silver, right? Were they silver plates?
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel. Okay,
Yeah.
so stainless steel.
No, I'm sorry.
Was it?
Silver.
Silver.
It was lost wax casting like a jeweler would do.
Absolutely.
With silver. Yeah.
So it conducts heat.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely well.
Oh, yeah.
So they put a squib on Dan. And
A spark hit, actually,
We
yeah.
do,
Yeah.
We do the hit, cut, and at the end of the day, he had these really nice quarters, a silver dollar size maybe, or half
Oh, he
dollars.
was screaming in pain.
Yeah, on his head.
Yeah.
Because his head was shaved too, and you could see those nice, huge marks on there.
But he didn't complain.
No,
Oh, he did it, my plate. Oh, my brain is burning. Non-flashback. Oh.
he did a thing. We did a scene where he had to fall down the
Backwards.
backwards down the thing and go into a tunnel.
That's amazing, that scene.
And they didn't have the film in right first take, so now we got to go take 2. And poor Dan just beat the crap. I mean, he was just.
Well, he's falling backwards at full speed toward a metal tube, and he makes it into the tube. It's brilliant.
So,
Just brilliant.
take 1 was no good. Take 2 was like, we could barely get him out. He was all mangled up.
Well, if he would have been beheaded if he missed, by a foot,
Dan has gone on. He's a great stunt coordinator. He's been in so many things. He did Lord of the Rings. He did all the Caribbean movies, Pirates of the Caribbean, and so on and so forth. But those are the people, the caliber of people, and I'm not including myself. But
Was he an orc
no, he was
in Lord of the Rings?
he doubled. He was with George Ruge, who was a stunt coordinator who did that, and Orlando and a lot of stuff.
He doubled Orlando.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Orlando did Lord of the Rings, Orlando Bloom. So now he comes back, and now he's in the Pirates of the Caribbean. Right now I have to do this thing with Orlando Bloom. And this guy is just like, has no clue what to do. I go, man, he just came, and they came up to me and he goes,
You mean as far as the choreography?
yeah, and then, you know, Dan comes and says, well, we had a lot of problems with him on Lord of the Ring. I
Oh,
go,
no.
Okay. So, again, it's
Step by step, 1, 2, 3, yeah.
No, a little quicker, no. But in all of that, on the Pirates thing, I had a blast. Me and Johnny Depp were up there bullshitting with each other for weeks, you know.
Would you say that more stunt guys are hurt by actors than stunts?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the actors don't know what to do. I mean, you try to teach them, and I get it, and stunt work is an act. It's a dance that you do, and you do it over and over. Well, you don't have time to, you know, you may be able to do it two or three
Well, no,
times.
but that's the problem, not having time. On Dusk Till Dawn, Robert, the director, came over to me and said, hey, when the zombie stunt guy, when he comes over, I want you to sidekick him in the head. Well, there was no time to stretch or, you know, get a nice distance. And I clocked him right in the face with my boots. I felt so bad. And that's when he said, more stunt guys are hurt by actors. You know, anyway.
Any questions or anything for anybody? Anything?
Yeah, right over there, yeah. No, I was a stage actor for 8 years. When I got back from Vietnam, I was stationed in North Carolina, and when I got out of the Army in 70, I stayed till 78 working in theater. Every night I was in the play. So I was around directors, I was around actors, you know, and I am an actor, so I had no, you know, if you're directing a film, you shoot the whole, if you're good, you shoot the whole thing on paper. Where the mistakes don't cost money, and you're ready to go. You're ready. You have a blueprint, you know. So it's just your job to get the actor to do what you need him to do. And if you're afraid of the actor, you're doomed. You'll never get a performance.
Homework is very
you know?
important when you're doing any kind of movie or television. You know?
And good directors do that. They have the whole the whole movie shot already. Like Hitchcock was bored making the movie because he already made the movie on paper. You know, yeah. So no, I had no.
Tales from the Dark Side?
Huh?
You started on Tales from the Dark Side?
Tales from the Dark Side, yeah. But I directed the play Dracula a number of times in different cities. I turned Dracula into a bat right on stage. It was a magic show. People were like, "What?" It's the Blue Room effect. Here's the stage, and there's a door in the middle of the stage, and that's the entrance to the sanitarium in the Dracula play, Dr. Seward's sanitarium. Now, in that doorway is a long hallway. But there's also a hallway going this way. It's like an L shape, okay? Everything in this hallway is exactly the same as this hallway. The carpet, the chandelier, the table, the paintings on the wall, they're exactly the same in this hallway as they are in this hallway. But in the opening of the door, there's a sheet of plexiglass that's 8 feet by 8 feet. Now, if you turn the lights on the actor in this hallway, you're looking through the plexiglass at the actor, let's say Dracula, okay? Now in this hallway is somebody with the bat through the wall, like the bat that would flap its wings and fly. So if you turn the lights off of this guy and turn the lights on this hallway, what you're seeing in the reflection of the plexiglass is this hallway. But it looks like you're looking down this hallway. So all you had to do was crossfade the lights when Dracula would raise his cape. Crossfade the lights, and in the plexiglass, the reflection took over, but you're still looking down this hallway. So nothing changes. The physical hallway does not change, but Dracula fucking turns into a bat and then flies away. It's all magic.
Life is an illusion.
I am a card-carrying member of the Magic Castle in L.A. You have to be a magician to be a member of that. Having written a book called Grand Illusions helped a lot, you know. Anyway.
I guess that came in handy for the chainsaw through the stomach sequence.
That was Andy Serkis, actually. That's like the Steve Martin arrow through the head thing, except it's a chainsaw that works on both sides, you know. Yeah.
That's great. Any other questions from the audience? Who has questions for Tom and Bob?
There's lots of movies out there. Dusty, yeah. What kind of a brown shade? Burnt umber.
Hallelujah.
We do it all the time. Anybody see Django Unchained? Do you remember me in that movie? Yeah, because I had a beard like down to here and long hair. I had the attack dogs. When the slave was up the tree and we attacked dogs. So I showed up on set, and the animal trainer gave us a quick course with the dogs. They were Belgian Malinois Shepherds, okay? He would say to the dog, stand up, sit down, move left, go over. And the dog understood English. He did everything he said. He said, okay, I want you to hold on to him because I'm going to make him go crazy. And I want you to hold on to him. So he did this gesture, and the dog dragged me 30 feet into the swamp on my knees. It was like holding a car back. It was called. So I finally was able to brace myself, and hold on to these two dogs, okay? So anyway, the slave was up the tree, and Leonardo DiCaprio pulls up in the carriage and says, shut these dogs up. I can't hear what I'm thinking, if you remember that scene. And the guy next to me is supposed to say, get these dogs out of here. But he's screaming, and he's yelling, fuck. And I look at him, and the dogs are attacking him. They've torn his pants off. They bit him on the ass cheek and dragged him to the ground by his ass. His act looked like the planet Mars at the end of the day, okay? So Quentin yelled, cut, lunch, okay? So we come back from lunch, and here's the guy again with a new wardrobe, and do the scene again, and DiCaprio pulls up, shut these dogs up. So he said his line, get these dogs, take these. So I grabbed the leashes, and now the dogs have attacked me. I've got a dog on my arm, but I'm not stopping until Quentin yells cut, and he did yell cut, okay. So the trainer said the reason you still have your arm is because the dogs are trained to attack stunt pads.
Right.
And I wasn't wearing stunt pads. It still hurt like crazy, but it wasn't the teeth, it was the pressure of the. Anyway, we both wound up going to the hospital for tetanus shots at the end of the day. So the next day, the slave was up the tree, and they bring him down, and they attach a fake arm to him. The dogs are supposed to tear the fake arm off. But the guy had his real arm behind his back. On every take, you could see the guy's real arm behind his back. And Quentin was getting frustrated. And I didn't want to say anything because my friends are doing the effects, guys that you know from Texas Chainsaw. I didn't want to say anything. But Quentin walked by, and I said, hey, man, do you remember when I did that effect in Day of the Dead? And, of course, he said yes, because Quentin has seen every movie ever made. He says, well, I dug a hole under the guy, so his real arm goes into the hole. And all you're aware of is his body and the fake arm, I said, but don't say I said anything, okay? He goes back to the set and he says, why don't you guys dig a hole under him for that arm, I think it'll be good. And they resist. He said, no, try it. Beautiful. 8 takes, and beautiful. So I'm standing there, and then 5 minutes later, Quentin comes by and he puts something in my hand, and I look, and it's $5. They have a tradition on Tarantino sets where if somebody from another department helps a department solve a problem, you're the $5 hero, okay? So I became the $5 guy. But the next day, I was the purple penis guy. I don't know where they hide it. I don't know how they blow it up. But if you fall asleep on a Quentin Tarantino set, they bring out, it's called Big Jerry, okay? And they stick it in your face and they take a picture, okay? Now, luckily for me, I fell asleep full. Penis is back here. It wasn't like,
Let me tell you, Dr. Giggles, okay? John Moyle, the stunt coordinator that I worked for in Texas, and, Tom knows and all that. He's asleep in a chair, and I just happened to be next to a spiderweb machine.
Oh, good.
And he's just like dead. So I'm looking at this, and I'm playing with it a little bit, and the effects guy comes over, and he goes, yeah, I turned it all on, and we spiderwebbed into the chair and took pictures of him. And then finally, when he woke up, yeah, we were good for a couple of days after that.
We're in the middle of a swamp. The only hard surface was like 2 or 3 feet on either side of the dirt road, and they bring out a screen as big as this behind me, with all the people that have fallen asleep with Big Jerry in their face. So they brought this to the swamp to ceremoniously add my picture, falling with Big Jerry in my face. But that's what it's like on a Tarantino set,
And that's Hollywood.
But he would do like, 7 or 8 takes, and he would scream, okay, we're going to do another one. Why? And the whole cast and crew would scream, because we love making movies, That's Quentin Tarantino. Oh, absolutely. In Friday the 13th, Part 4, Joe Zito, the director, left all the effect scenes long when he presented the film, knowing that they were going to cut it back. So then he would cut it back to where he wanted it to be. Because he showed every effect, and they happened quickly, just so we could dwell on Jason sliding down the machete blade when I killed him, That wouldn't have been in there. And, in Taxi Driver, they wanted Martin Scorsese to cut so much stuff, but all they did was change the color of the blood. And they were able to leave it all in Taxi Driver. So sometimes they purposely present a film to the censors with much more than they know they're going to get away with, And sometimes after the censors tell them what they want to cut, they don't do shit and represent it. Oh, yeah, it's great. Yeah. Because they're morons, you know.
But it's an illusion.
It is an illusion. Anybody else?
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate all you guys, coming in here for me personally, and some great. And I love listening to this stuff. This is a highlight for me, again.
Oh, this is what I love about DVD supplemental material ones. They're talking about the stories, When we do the supplementary material on George Romero's films, we're at his house, and the FedEx guy shows up, the doorbell rings, the dog's barking. It feels like you're sitting with them watching the movie and listening to them talk. I love when it's like that, when you feel like you're there with them,
So,
because it's this weekend, what are you doing for Halloween?
I hardly ever celebrate Halloween because I'm always at a place like this. I'm going to be in England on Halloween, actually, from my birthday. My birthday is November 3rd.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, yeah.
Happy birthday for Tom.
No, thanks.
You don't look a day over 25.
I'm 72.
no, are you kidding?
Yeah. I'll be 72 November 3rd.
Old fart you are.
I'll ask this both of you a professional question. Bob, I'll start. Favorite stunt that you've ever done?
Oh, wow. This one almost got killed on.
And that was your favorite?
This is...
It's my favorite because I survived
I
it.
survived it. I doubled John Candy in, I think, 6 movies for John.
Oh, wow.
And, there was a thing, who's Harry Crumb? And I had to take a hit from a jet plane wing, and it was supposed to be a hit, and then I fell backwards on a loading ramp. And the old ones where you walk up to the plane, they don't have them anymore, but it was like 45 feet up. And I had to go backwards, and I'm like, oh, man, this is going to hurt really bad. And I padded up pretty good, but I did it, threw myself back. I hit one time, bounced once, and ran right to the camera, and the assistant cameraman jumped in front of the camera. So that was a cut.
Right.
And so I did it again and did the same thing, and everybody was happy. But I slowly got up, and I had 2 paramedics, and I said, you guys need to come with me, And they took me off, and I had to adjust myself a little bit because the same thing happened again,
So
now,
you did 2 takes?
2 takes, It was exciting. Nobody had ever done that before at that point in time,
But was it a real plane wing, or did they have a prop that they?
No, it was a real jet.
Oh, okay.
Jet wing, So we flew underneath it. I took the hit and rolled down, and that was the character. He got in all kinds of trouble, but that was probably one of the worst and best. And I was doubling John Goodman in a movie, and Everybody's All-American, and I went through a plane glass window. And that one I felt pretty good. That was really good scene, good take. And that one I was squirting blood out of my wrist on that one. And there was a nurse to my right side and cut, and she went over and clamped it down. And we went over to the director, Taylor Hackford, the director, and I said, well, we can do one more. We have one more window. Because I want to get that out of the way. I said, he looked at it and goes, no, we're good. And we're right to the hospital. So that,
That's something else about movies. We talked about blood color and the jaw. Windows, people going through windows. You really get hurt going through windows. I was at a YMCA and saw a drunk guy punch, some of these doors have like a triangle window, and he punched through there and just sliced his wrist open. Talk about blood squirting, They think because it happens in the movies that you can do it in real life. No.
You get with fake glass, which is plastic, you can still get cut on that.
Yeah, well, let me ask you a question. When you went through the window, did they explode it at the same time? Because your body's not going to do it, right?
Tempered glass when it explodes, it goes into really fine pieces instead of regular glass.
So they have to time looking at you, watching you hit the glass, and explode it the second your body hits it.
So as soon as my head gets close to the window, because I had 2 guys, I was a dead body at that point. I had a big fight, and they shot me. Now the dead body, and it's the etching of him as a football player. That was the whole thing behind it. This is John Goodman. And so they swing me 1, 2, and on 3, as soon as my head got close to it, the special effects guys fired it, spider-webbed the glass. I went through, but I had cuts everywhere. They were everywhere. But this one right here was the one that was squirting blood, so it was.
That could have been worse.
Oh, I go to the hospital, and I'm sitting there, and oh, man. The doctor goes, he's playing around with it for a long time, and I look down on the ground, and there's a huge puddle of blood. I mean, huge. I go, what are you doing? He goes, well, I got to make sure all the glass is out. So I had 75 inside and outside stitches, micro stitches and all that on that one. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So I came home, I had wrappings everywhere, and my poor wife was going, oh. I go, no, I made a lot of money. We're good. You know,
I'm a stunt guy.
you know, I mean, I made a fortune on Texas. I made a fortune.
Famous Tom Savini.
Favorite Tom Savini stunt?
Stunt?
Stunt. Well, I know you haven't done it in a while, but...
Did you guys know he was a stuntman also?
Yeah. Well, I went off the balcony at the Monroeville Mall into the fountain,
Right.
okay? But we had cardboard boxes and mattresses, but I missed the first time. And my head hit the end of the boxes, but my feet smacked into the floor.
Oh, that's
okay?
even better.
I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. My heels, I was still doing the effects, but I was in a golf cart and, you know, a wheelchair, and I had a cane. 2 weeks later, I did the stunt again, but this time more cardboard boxes. And and it worked. So that's, and you know, every
Cardboard
time.
boxes are fun to go into.
Yeah, every time.
Airbag is better.
Well, you know, this is a low budget.
This
They
is low
can't
budget.
afford it. And they didn't hire any stunt guys, you know. So I said, I can do that stuff, you know, and I did it. But what's the point? Did the stunt. Every time a zombie got hit by a truck,
Right.
it was me.
Yep.
When the blonde zombie got kicked out of that's me with a blonde wig on. So I did all the stunts in that movie as well. Yeah. Because I said, I can do that, you know. But that was fun. It was 3 months. I carried a sleeping bag. I'd sleep under the escalators. They come over. Tom, it's time to do a stunt. You got to do a stunt. Tom, it's time to make up the zombie. Okay. Tom, it's time to play Blades. Because Blades is not in the script. We just wanted to be in the movie, so we threw costumes on, and George wanted to see more and more of it, you know. So I became the leader of the bike gang, you know, because it's a real bike gang, the pagans. And they're not actors, you know. So when it was time for, hey, when are we going to attack them, you know, then I pulled out a switchblade comb. Remember that? Yeah. That's something I bought in the store and thought I'd, you know, and he left it in. That's the great thing about Romero, you know, he would let you improvise, you know. Anyway.
And here's another off one. What's your favorite shot that you pulled off as a director?
The favorite shot as a director. Wow, that's a good one.
I don't have one.
There's so many. There's so many. Some of the Tales from the Dark Side episodes that I directed. I think there's like 74 Tales from the Dark Side episodes. 10 of them are good. Okay. And 3 of them are mine, okay? But 10, John Harrison did a great one. Michael Gornick, who directed Creepshow 2, did a great one. But 2 of the ones I did, they commissioned feature-length scripts to do. It never got made, you know. I loved Dario Argento is a visual stylist. I'm very impressed by the way he would shoot stuff. If you've seen opera, when the guy's looking through the gun, the bullet fires and it goes through the girl's head and takes out the phone, that's brilliant shit, you know. But you got to plan all that. You got to make all that stuff, you know. Okay, here's one. On Two Evil Eyes. No, on Trauma. Dario wanted Piper Laurie's head to come off and roll on the floor and come to rest against the wall. And while the head is rolling on the floor, every time the face came up, he wanted her to say, Nicholas, Nicholas. I'm thinking, how the fuck am I going to do that? Because if you look at a fake head longer than 3 seconds, you know it's fake. Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Mirror and The Terminator, you knew that was a fake head. The guy in Poltergeist that tears his face apart. The exception to this rule is every head that Kevin Yeager made in Sleepy Hollow. Those were brilliant heads. You could stare at those all day. They were so very real. I tell them that all the time. But as a rule, you look at a fake head longer than 3 seconds. So how am I going to make her head, a fake head, roll and, you know, enunciate the word Nicholas, you know? So Piper Laurie shows up and she's claustrophobic. We can't cast her head. Now, that's a huge problem, but it proves, this is absolutely true, in all my 60 movies, limitations make you more, make you more creative and to solve problems, okay? It's 100% true. So here's a limit. I mean, limitations like not having enough people, not having enough materials, not having enough time. Those are limitations. So she shows up and we can't make a fake head of her that has to roll on the floor and say all this stuff, you know? So how the fuck are we going to do that? So what saved the day is the mindset that I teach my students at my school. And that is what your mindset needs to be as an effects guy. What do I need to see to make me believe that what I'm seeing is really happening? Then you create the pieces. And that turns into what do I need to show an audience to make them believe that what they're seeing is really happening. So what do I need to see? I need to see her head rolling, okay? Well, that made me realize that I could take her real head, Piper Laurie's real head, and put an appliance on her neck to make her own head look like a severed head. You know, we painted her skin black and she wore a black costume. And I sat her in a stool that spins. And we had them take the floor and build it upright on wheels. So we could wheel the floor behind her as we spun her in the chair, and we turned the camera upside down so her head is upside down. Now, if you're looking at an upside down head that's severed, you're not imagining a body could be attached to it. Anyway, Dario Argento walks in and was like, "What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?" And because, you know, she's sitting in a stool and there's a floor, you know, and he expects her the head to be on the floor. So we showed him the video. We did it in slow motion, and he's, wow. From that day on, he called me the volcano of the mind. Okay? but that's what I think he is. I think he is a volcano of the mind, you know. So directing that little sequence and creating a magic trick like that, it's the same. Have you seen Martin, George Romero's Martin? Okay, a guy gets a stake in his neck. Well, it's the same thing that I did to Kevin Bacon in Friday the 13th. His head is on a fake body. And the same thing, I said to George, you know, how are we going to do the stake in the guy's neck? He says, "Oh, we'll go to a slaughterhouse and, you know, drive a stake through a close-up of a lamb's neck or something." I said, no, we got to see the guy's face when it goes in. Well, how are you going to do that? I don't know. We'll figure it out, you know. But anyway, it was the Kevin Bacon thing. So here we are. The guy is on his stomach with his head on the fake body, and I built up the ground with leaves and stuff behind him, and I'm going to put the stake in, and George comes in and says, whoa, what are you doing? We dragged him out on his back. He has to be on his back. I said, George, if you look, the camera doesn't know if he's on his back. You know, it's a magic trick. So you have to teach directors sometimes that these are magic tricks. You need a shot of this before this is going to work, you know. And that's what I tell effects guys and my students all the time. You get the script, you make an effects list from the script, but you must ask the director on every single effect, what do you want to see? Because the script might say 8 bodies. And you think, I got to create 8 bodies, and you go to the director, he says, no, just make 2, because there'll be a mirror and it'll look like 8 bodies. You have to talk to the director about every single effect, and it saves you time and money and trouble, you know, so. Who's coming in?
Who?
Who's coming in?
Make 'em wait.
Wallace and Tom Atkins.
Let's make him wait. That's Tom Atkins.
One last question.
Oh, me? A documentary on my career called Smoke and Mirrors, a coffee table picture book that's coming out, and the Friday the 13th video game. I did all the kills in the Friday the 13th. And created a new Jason. It's on my table, and the lawsuit is over. So there's going to be more.
Oh, fabulous!
Yeah, Friday the 13th stuff coming out.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks.
Very much.
Thanks, Tom.